Today we're ranking some of the best and the worst knife brands of 2023. There's some garbage and some amazing brands on this list. But before we get into it, make sure you hit subscribe and ring that bell icon now. This video is brought to you by House of Blades, more on that later. So Balin behind the camera put together a tier list, so let's go over them. We have absolute unit being at the top, dope, would buy, repulsive, and absolute trash. We're starting off with Schrade, which is a company that sells a budget OTF knives as well as automatic knives, folding knives.
I don't even know what Schrade knives is.
What do you mean you don't know what Schrade is? Okay, so Schrade makes these really shitty knives. They're basically like the budget brand, and I don't really like them at all. You usually see these knives at the Pew Pew show, so I mean, I'm gonna put this in the repulsive category. Don't really recommend them. Vero is a really cool brand. We've met Joseph multiple times, right?
Yeah.
Joseph Vero, and he has models like the Synapse XL, the Impulse, the Axon Fixed Blade, and then he has a couple new prototypes that are coming out in 2024 that I've got to handle. Those seem super intriguing, so I'm gonna put them in the dope category. I'm really excited to see what they have to come in the future. Next up, we have Spyderco that has a ton of heritage. They're really well known for their PM2 as well as Para 3 models. I would put them in the would buy category. I mean, they still make some really nice utilitarian knives, so I'm not gonna go crazy on them, but if they come out with more innovative designs, then they could move up in the tier categories moving forward. Just to remind you guys, this tier list is based off of my personal opinion. If you have a different perspective, then feel free to let me know in the comment section below.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping?
All right, next we have Artisan Cutlery, and to be honest with you guys, they're not making anything too crazy that really intrigues me personally, but a lot of you guys really enjoy their budget class knives. What do you know about Artisan Cutlery, Bill? I mean, like...
Nothing. No experience.
No experience whatsoever. Okay, so I'll probably put them in the category for now. If they do really improve on like their packaging and stuff like that, then they might be able to move up the tier list in future videos. Okay, we have House of Blades, the sponsor of today's video. They're not an actual manufacturer, but I wanted to add them in this list because I think they are an absolute unit. Without House of Blades, this channel would not be a thing. They allow me to make these videos on a weekly basis, and if you're interested in buying a knife at House of Blades, make sure that you use code EDM on checkout, and that will get you a discount. I'll leave an affiliate link in the description below. And the cool thing is, if you buy any knife from now till Christmas, you'll get free laser engraving, so you can really personalize that aesthetic of your knife. Huge shout outs to House of Blades for sponsoring this video. And next up, we have Reeve Knives. Now, Reeve Knives is one of the pinnacle companies in the knife industry. They're really well known for the Sabenza, the Nkosi, and the Zan, which is one of my most favorite knives of all time. Reeve invented the integral locking mechanism known as the frame lock. So I'm going to put them in the absolute unit category just because of how well known they are.
They're the ultimate beaters.
You can literally beat the hell out of a Sabenza and then Nkosi Zan, and you can send it back for a spot treatment. They'll send it back to you and it will be in brand new condition. So yeah, Reeve is the go-to for me. All right, Boker. So Boker knives, I don't know. They're just like, they make some pretty cheap feeling knives in my opinion. A lot of people like them, but for me personally, like the Kalashnikov, it's just not a thing for me. But because they're so well known, they're a German brand, I'll put them in the A category for now. I just really wish that they would improve on their packaging as well as the quality of feel in hand with their knives.
Oh, really? I didn't know that, and I didn't need to know that.
All right, we have Koenig Knives, and this one's a biggie because I've owned an Arius and now the Mini Arius. They're pretty much like some of the best manufactured knives in the industry today. Yes, they're pretty expensive, but I really enjoy their models. The action on the Arius is just top tier, so we're gonna put them in the dope category. If they had more offerings and if they were more readily available, I would throw them in the absolute unit category. Hopefully we can get them in there next year. All right, Buck Knives. This is usually the first knife that a person gets, whether they're in their childhood or whatever it may be. You find these knives in Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, and a lot of you guys might hate me, but I don't like Buck Knives whatsoever. I mean, Buck Knives they're well known, but in terms of the competition today, they don't really provide a ton of value aside from their heritage. So I'm gonna put them in the A category. I wouldn't really suggest buying one. If you're looking for a lockback knife, cool. They're not doing anything innovative, so yeah, they're gonna sit there. So VV Knives is on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and they are doing some really cool things at a really good value. They have ultra popular models like the Elementum and Baby Banter, and I would definitely put them in the would buy category. They've made amazing progress year over year, and I'm excited to see what they have to provide in the future as well. Cold Steel is a brand that makes absolute beater knives. I'm gonna put them in the A tier just because they're not really innovating and making things that are super exciting. So Cold Steel, if you're watching this, just make some cooler products and put some higher end materials into your knives. All right, Vitanium, they are making some really cool things, especially with the Arcade and the Theory that just released this year. I'm gonna throw them in the dope category just because of how innovative their designs have been within 2023. Demco Knives, they've been kind of riding the wave of the shark lock, so they're not really innovating a ton within the industry. The locking mechanism was really cool in 2021 and 2022, but now in 2023, it's just kind of overdone. I'll put them in the would buy category just because of the shark lock locking mechanism. Aside from that, they need to put out some better things and then they can move up in the tier list. Gerber Knives is something that you will find in pretty much every single Walmart. They make ultra budget knives, and again, this is one of those brands where you probably had one as a kid. But they use really crappy blade materials, and you can get a lot more out of brands like Civivi and Kaiser nowadays. So I'm gonna put them in the repulsive category just because it's more of a beginner brand. Just go to Civivi and Kaiser. I don't really recommend Gerber. Giant Mouse Knives. Honestly, guys, I've had a few Giant Mouse knives in my collection, like the Ace Grand and the Biblio, and I had issues with both of them. There's not a lot of cool things coming out of Italy, so I'm gonna put them in the A category. They do have some really cool designers like Anzo and Jesper Voxnes, but that's the only reason why I'm putting them in the A category. When you're paying, you know, $250 to $400 on a knife, I would expect perfection. ProTech Knives, you guys know I love the Malibu, the Mordax, and the Runt 5, so I'm gonna throw them in the dope category. They make some of the best OTS or out the side autos. Next we have Cobra Tech, and these guys are known to be the actual pew pew show knives. They make OTF or out the front switchblades that usually go for about 50 to 100 bucks, and honestly, they are absolute garbage. If I see someone pulling out a Cobra Tech knife, then I'm instantly judging them. I'm not gonna lie, they're just not cool knives, and you can get much better OTFs within that price range, like the Lightning OTF. Kershaw Knives is another brand that you'll see in the big box retailers, but I believe they're the best in terms of that category. They're starting to put out newer models, which is really intriguing, and also playing into the higher end materials within their knives, so I'm gonna put them in the would buy category. All right, Hendro Knives, I know a lot of you guys are really accustomed to them and really enjoy their models. Now, they're known for the XM18 and XM24. For me personally, I don't really enjoy the overall aesthetic and how beefy they are, but I can respect the customability and modularity of each model, so we're gonna throw them in the would buy category. Next up is NAFS and Ben Peterson, one of my close friends. I might be a little bit biased on this one. He originally released the Lander, which is a fantastic budget knife, and now the Lander 2 with the clutch lock locking mechanism. Absolute fantastic value. On top of that, if you're wanting to customize your Lander, you can easily swap out the scales. I'm gonna put them in the dope category. Kaiser Knives is making waves within the industry as well, and they're making really great, you know, $150 to $200 knives. I'm gonna put them in the dope category. SOG Knives and Tools, and I would actually put them in the dope category if we were referencing their multi-tools, such as the Power Pint, but when we're talking about their knives, the experience that I've had is absolutely terrible. I actually purchased one of their Pentagon OTFs that was like 350 bucks, and just by actuating it, it broke the internal mechanism. I cannot recommend SOG Knives. I'm gonna put them in the trash category just because they're not good when it comes to their knives. M-Tech Knives, these are known as gas station knives. Bill only saw some in Texas, right? I mean, they were literally just sitting in a case, and this brand is one that you want to stay far away from.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Even though they have the $10 to $20 knives, there is a brand on this list that's going to be better than M-Tech and less expensive. Stay away from M-Tech. Don't buy any gas station knives. I don't support them. They try to knock off custom knives. They're absolute trash. All right, Knoll Knives is next up. Sean is really cool over there. There's models like the Raiden, the Grace, the Voodoo, and Knoll is putting out some really cool things. I'm excited to see what he puts out in 2024. We're going to put him in the dope category. Not much to say about Medford Knife and Tool. I just don't don't really like Greg Medford, so I'm gonna put them in the repulsive category. QSP Knives. The only thing I have against QSP is their branding and packaging. It feels super cheap, like it's coming from something out of overseas. Maybe hire a graphic designer and change up that logo. It's just not my favorite in my opinion. However, they are putting out some pretty decent knives, so I'm gonna put them in the A category for now. If QSP changes their logo within the next year, then they are definitely gonna jump up in this tier list. Shirogorov Knives, the best Russian knife company, aside from CKF maybe, but they are known for their action in their knives. I've personally owned the Quantum Ursus and still want to get like an N95. No, that's a face mask. I want the Shirogorov Can 95. The Neon is on my wish list, so I'm gonna put them in the dope category. Microtech Knives is known for the OTF Switchblade. I've pretty much owned their entire lineup, anywhere from the UTX 70, UTX 85, Ultratech, Combat Trudon. If I'm saying that right, I have no idea. Correct me if I'm wrong. They just make some crazy things, as well as their signature series and the Marfione custom series. The only issue I have with Microtech is they're pretty expensive, at the baseline coming in at around $200 to $250. I am impressed with their collaboration with Reich Knives, so I'm gonna throw them in the would buy category for now. And once I add more Microtechs in the collection, they could potentially move up. One thing I do want to say, I absolutely despise that claw logo. Microtech needs to change that. Strider Knives, I don't know much about Strider, so I'm gonna put them in the would buy category. Just because I haven't owned one yet, I really do want to get my hands on one. All right, next up is Squid Industries. They make balisongs, and they are some of the very best balisongs in the industry today. So I'm going to throw them in the dope category. And wow, this dope category is actually moving up quite a bit. All right, Urban EDC. They're putting out knives like the Nessie, the Baby Nessie, the F5.5. And if you guys have been following along, the Urban Minimalist, now renamed to the Urban EDC Miso. That's literally named after my firstborn cat. So yeah, now you guys know. But the F5.5 is one of those staple pieces. Of course, it's designed by Jesper Voxnes, and I'm gonna throw them in the would buy category. Okay, Oz Machine Co. I'm gonna throw them in the absolute unit category, because the Oz Machine Co. Roosevelt, the knife I have in my pockets today, is one of the best EDC knives that I've ever had to experience, thanks to Balin.
Merry Christmas.
Balin got this for me for Christmas, and it's an amazing knife. So the Rosie XL is going to be coming out soon. The only grip I have with Oz Machine Co. is they're pretty hard to get. You have to enter into a lotto, or you have to buy it on the secondary. And I think Balin, you attempted like what, 5 times?
I got pretty lucky. I was like the 7th or 8th time entering a lotto. Some people have been trying for years. And
well, he also had me try for him to get into it, and I failed at getting an Oz every single time. Okay, We Knives, they put out so many different models that I pretty much forget every single name of each individual model they put out, but they pretty much win every single prize at every blade show that we've attended, right? I mean, like, there's always an award, whether it's best in show or best production knife. I'm gonna throw them in the dope category just because they are always innovating. They can maybe slow down on how many models they put out and discontinue, but in terms of overall manufacturing quality, they're doing amazing things. Tactile Knife Co., they put out the Rockwall, the Dreadeye, and then also the new Archer this year for 2023. I'm gonna throw them in the would buy category just because I want to see a little bit more innovation moving forward. But we've toured their facility, and I think Balin and I are pretty positive that they will be putting out some pretty crazy things coming up in 2024. ZT Knives, I've honestly not had a ton of experience with ZT. My most favorite model is the 0562 Thai. I'll put them in the would buy category for now. Okay, Chavez Knives. This is the next one on the list, and they're doing really cool things by introducing the kickstop locking mechanism to the 229. So I'm going to put them in the dope category. I really love Chavez Knives. If you're looking for an absolute tank of a knife, that's the route you want to go. Ozark Trail. This is the one other brand that I would suggest over M-Tech that I was talking about before. If you guys saw the video, I did a full review on a $6 Walmart knife, and that is known as the Ozark Grail, just because I don't even remember what the name is. And they named their crossbar locking mechanism the Shaft Lock. Why would you name it the Shaft Lock? I have no idea. I'm gonna put them a tier above M-Tech just because they're still kind of repulsive, but for $6, it's actually not that bad. Okay, we all know where this is going. Benchmade. I am super biased with this, I'm not gonna lie. They're going instantly in the absolute unit category. I know a lot of you guys will disagree with me, but ever since I was a child, I've strided to get my hands on Benchmade knives. And now that I can afford Benchmade knives, I will always support them, and they make some of the coolest knives in my opinion. They have a huge heritage within the knife industry, and the knife industry wouldn't be where it's at without them today. For all of you haters out there, feel free to just roast me in the comments. I don't care. They're the reason why this channel exists, because if I never bought a Benchmade in the first place, I wouldn't have created this channel. Last but not least, we have CRKT. Oh my fucking God. I have so much to say about this company. I used to love them, I'm not gonna lie. They made some pretty decent stuff. I mean, the first introduction to knives for me was with CRKT Knives. But recently, they sent us a cease and desist order on the Urban Minimalist. Because apparently they trademark or copyrighted the name Minimalist, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I know they have a knife called the Minimalist, it's a neck knife. But because they did that, I am gonna throw them in the trash category. Normally, they'd probably go in the repulsive and category, but I have massive beef with CRKT. And that's all I'm gonna say about them. End of story. All right, guys, so this is what the tier list looks like. Would you have made this any different? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, thank you again to House of Blades for sponsoring this video. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I guess we'll have to catch you on the next one. Peace out.